Hey everyone, it's Ro with Ro's Wigglers. I just got done with the farmer's market and it is a hot day here in St. Louis. We have a heat advisory. So luckily for me, now I am down in my nice cool basement about to play with my worms. I'm gonna make them a delicious smoothie today, so I figured I'd take you along for the adventure so you can see what I'm doing and how I add it to my bin. So what we've got today for our smoothie ingredients, I have some frozen, starting to thaw mango slices that someone brought me because they were starting to go bad and no longer able to be given out as free food. So worms are gonna love that. They're gonna love all that sweetness. I actually used this today. I brought some worm orders to the farmer's market, and because it was going to be such a hot day, I put the worms in a cooler and put these in there to keep it cool, which I thought was hilarious. And now it's gonna be a smoothie. So we're gonna do some mango. I have my bag of frozen veggies from the freezer. This is from cooking and leftovers from the garden. Mostly greens in here, carrot top greens, some kale, some mustard greens. This will definitely be a quick food for the worms. And I'm experimenting a little bit because, you know, I can't help myself. I always gotta experiment. So I've got a cup of oats, rolled oats. It's gonna give them a little extra nutrients and help fatten them up a little bit. And then just a little bit of alfalfa meal. I don't want to do too much of this because I'm a little worried if I do too much, it'll heat up the bin. But the worms are going to love the alfalfa meal, and then in the future, the plants especially will love the alfalfa meal. Alfalfa is amazing for your plants if you've never used it as a fertilizer. So this is going to pass through the worms and already be bioavailable for the plants when someone gives them their worm castings or worm casting tea. So it's a win-win. And then as my liquid, instead of just using regular water, since I just got done with the farmer's market and I've got some worm casting tea left, I'm going to use worm casting tea as my liquid, which is also going to make the worms go nuts. It's full of microbes. It's probably got a little bit of molasses left, so they're going to love that. And it's going to really get all this food to start breaking down way faster, and the worms are going to go bonkers for it. And I get to make use of this tea without wasting it. Let's be real though, I never waste my tea. I have a whole bin of leftover tea here. But it'll all be going into my garden or used to mist all my worm bins or poured into the compost to accelerate the compost bin, which if you didn't know, you can use worm casting tea to accelerate your compost if it's not breaking down properly. This will introduce all the microbes, get it to heat up, and really start doing its thing. So, another good use for worm casting tea. All right, here's my crappy little blender, because at my house we have a rule that no kitchen gadgets are allowed to be used for anything for my worms or my garden. So my worms have their own kitchen gadgets. So I can put gross stuff in them like this. So, put these gloves on, and grab some of these carrot greens, throw those in there, give them some kale. We like our worms to have a nice balanced diet. There's some kale in there. Definitely some of these mango slices. Really kind of wanted these to be the star of the show. We'll see what happens. Mangoes, the alfalfa, the oats. Then I'm going to pour this worm tea in. Delicious. Don't you want this smoothie? Everybody wants a smoothie like this, right? Yum, yum. I think I've got room to throw a little bit more mango in there, so I'm going to. Hopefully the blender doesn't yell at me too much. Okay. Put the top on. Sorry for the noise. Here comes the blending. Not too loud, actually. So you get this all nice and blended up. While that's blending, I will show you, I have here a bin that just has a bunch of shredded cardboard in it. We're gonna pour the smoothie into this, which is going to help absorb all that moisture so we don't saturate our worm bin too much by pouring the smoothie in. So that's gonna be the next step. That's good enough. If this were a better blender, things would be blended a little better, but we're gonna roll with it. Again, I don't know if I said this yet, but you don't have to do all this. You don't have to make a smoothie for your worms. You don't have to blend things up. But if you are, say, a home vermicomposter and you have one worm bin and your family produces a lot of produce and you really want your worms to be able to work through that, it definitely helps them to be able to work through it much more quickly if you blend or chop it up. So, here's our nice, disgusting for us, I got liquid, disgusting for us, delicious for the worms, worm smoothie. You can see there's still some chunks in there, especially those oats. They did not break up very well at all, but that's okay. We're gonna roll with it. So I'm gonna take this nice, gross smoothie, pour it all in. Oh, this really didn't blend up. Let me blend it a little more. I want it to at least be doing something. There we go. That's what I want to see. I think some of the greens tangled up on the blades. Let me throw a couple of these bigger ones back in. Blended. Okay, that should be better. Again, cheapy blender, you know. I think I got this at a thrift store somewhere. Still got some chunks, but I'm over it. Yep, that's what happened. See how the greens tangled around the blades? Oh, tangled around the blades. Okay. So maybe the greens won't go into the blender first next time, and that'll help. I don't know. That's okay. The worms are gonna eat it. Ooh, kind of sneaky. This mango, I think, kind of fermented a little bit. All right. Now I'm going to mix this all around in this dry cardboard, which again is really just to help manage that moisture because we don't want to get our bin too wet. And it looks like I actually this cardboard could probably handle even another smoothie. So I'm going to be feeding a lot of worm bins today, so I'm going to go ahead and blend up one more smoothie. This time, let's put the mangoes in the bottom. This thing on here. Okay. Mangoes in the bottom. Boop, boop, boop. I'll skip the oats. We won't do any more oats today. Let's just do some of these greens. Plug my blender greens. Those in there. Some more worm tea. You can see the steam coming off of this blender because it was so hot outside at the market. Wild. Alright. That. Lid back on here. Blend up again. it's just doing the same thing and not actually blending, which is a bummer. I want blended. Yep, mostly just tangled at the bottom. That's all right, we're gonna roll with it. This one's pink because of the beet greens. Healthy worms. Make sure they don't have any inflammation, you know. Give them some beet greens, some other nasty good stuff that they love. Yum, yum. All right, mix this all up. And then, just so you can see kind of how I do this, how I use this to feed my bin, I've got a worm bin here. Take the cover off. This is what it looks like right now. The worms are all down below here. Give them a little fluff. Make sure we're getting air into everywhere. Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna mist a lot of my worm bins today with this worm casting tea because they're looking a little drier than I want them to. All right, and then what I'm gonna do, well, this is kind of the best place to put this probably. Don't fall. I'm gonna take this smoothie mixture with the cardboard and the food scraps. I'm gonna make a little row right down the middle. And then, because I want to make sure I don't attract any kind of fruit flies or anything like that, I'm just gonna take some fresh, dry cardboard that's not covered in food scraps and bury this. I need to shred a lot more cardboard. If anybody wants to shred cardboard for me, I will let you. And voila, we have given our worms a worm tea, food, mango, a little bit of protein from the oats smoothie, and they should be pretty excited about it. Anyway, this is Ro with Ro's Wigglers. Remember, until next time, healthy soil, healthy plants, happy worms.